Yeah. Happy Tuesday. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the call-in show, Uncle Lou After Dark. Good to see everybody in here tonight. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. We're going to get the show started here in about 2 minutes. How's everybody doing? Everybody okay? Everybody survive week 1? All right, good. Hit the thumbs up. We're going to start in 2 minutes.
Whoa, time, Lou! Whoa, time, Lou! Whoa, time, Lou! Whoa, time, Lou!
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Alabama. Alabama. That's what a dead program looks like. Holy shit. That's the best player on your team carrying a fucking teddy bear. Into an opposing team's stadium before getting his fucking ass beat. That is fucking sad. I didn't say that much last year about him painting his nails. What the fuck is that? What is that? Alabama fans ought to be suffering from secondhand embarrassment from that fucking teddy bear. What the fuck is that? That's pitiful. What has happened? What has happened to people? I guarantee you one thing. You ain't going to catch nobody from UNLV carrying in no fucking teddy bear this Saturday when they beat the shit out of UCLA. That I can promise you. All right, how's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Uncle Lou After Dark, the college football call-in show. Yes, YouTube's longest running college football live show. Good to see everybody in here on a Tuesday. Glad we all survived week one. Man, it took a lot out of me. Shout out to y'all, though. I know mostly y'all don't care about this, so I don't talk about it that much. But this was probably the best 5 days I've ever had on YouTube. That's because of y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, watching all the games this weekend, watching the videos, comments, thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. Got the season off to an amazing start. We had some great games. We had some upsets. We had some close games. We had some high-scoring games. We had some low-scoring games. We had some good offense. We had some good defense. We had some of everything in week one. Obviously, 50% of the teams that play lose every week, and that sucks for those fan bases and those teams that lose, but that means that 50% of the teams win. Yeah, so we get to come on here every Tuesday and either brag or cry. Whichever it is that you want to do. If you would like to come on and express your feelings here on the Uncle Lou Show, make sure you click the link. This is a call-in show. The link is in the description of the video. We'll be taking your phone calls. Looking forward to hearing from y'all. I'll do my best to post the link in the comment section every once in a while, but it's in the description of the video all the time, so just click that StreamYard link. It'll put you in a back room where you'll be able to listen to the show. And when you're up, I'll put you on and we'll talk some college football. We got quite a few people waiting to come on already, so I better get with it here. All right, let's take roll. We need to know who's here, who's present, and accounted for. So let's do that immediately. Fireval is here. Joshua George, Devin Johnson, Dan Patrick O'Brien, which has to be Irish, has to be. Greg Brown, Eddie Blackburn, what's up, buddy? Georgia Man is here. Slim Shady Canes, Miami with a big win this weekend. Sergeant Sharkey, Jenny freaking Kim is here. She's a lady in the streets, but a freak in the YouTube comment streets. Yes, or so I've been told. I don't know. I'm making it up. Bryce, Jesus Christ Home Slice, Tim Skelton, Tyler Harrison, Gamecock Orbit, James Cooper, Psycho Seminole. Congrats on the big win, buddy. Pine Saw Lemon Scent. Whoa, welcome back. Seems like we haven't seen you in a while, so I guess now would be a good time to remind everyone that lemon is the best Pine Saw scent. So you picked a great name there. Yeah, you did. Austin Tippett, Octavian Cador is here. What a shock that is. Yeah. Jewel. What a great name. Julius Seizure. All right, that one got me. That's funny. Sean Ramsey is here. Rocky Dennis, Professor Slay, Airplane Spotter. Did you spot any today, bud? Biggs Mike, Tyler Harrison, Evan 215, Tim Russell, Bryce, Walker Dog, Brandon Thomas, Uncle Badass is here. Anthony Swift is here. All right, it looks like everyone is present and accounted for. That's great news. How's everybody doing? What do you want me to rant about something at the top of the show? What do you want me to rant about? What do you want? What do you want me to do? Carson Beck being the best quarterback in the ACC? Is that what you want to hear? You want to hear that? What else? Let's see. What do you want to hear? You want Alabama's in the toilet? Of course they are. It's a dead program. They're not firing Kalen DeBoer. You can go on Twitter and rage tweet until your fucking thumbs fall off. I got 77 million reasons for you. But Kalen DeBoer will be your head coach for every game this season and every game next season, too. Yeah. Welcome to the regular world of college football, Alabama fans, where you actually have to worry before the majority of your games. Yeah. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting on you for 20 years while you've been busy with a 95% chance to win every time you took the field. Boy, those days sure are over, aren't they? Have you seen Alabama's schedule? How many guaranteed wins are on there? Holy shit. Would it be funny if they lost to Louisiana, Monroe, or Wisconsin? Yeah, but they're probably winning those two games. After that, though, shit. I mean, you look at who they play. At South Carolina. At Georgia. They play Auburn. They play Oklahoma. They play LSU. They play Missouri. How many of those games does Alabama have over a 50% chance of winning? 1? 2? I mean, they're not going to lose them all. But instead of watching Alabama in November fighting for a playoff spot, we might be watching Alabama in November fighting for bowl eligibility. God damn, y'all suck, man. Y'all are terrible. Whoa. What happened? Y'all got players jogging on the field, not running people down, getting blown off the line of scrimmage by Florida State. You got no running game. What in the world? What happened? That don't make no sense. Bama's still one of the 2 or 3 most talented teams in the country. What in the world was that you put on the field Saturday? Holy shit. That's embarrassing. You know, you watched that North Carolina TCU game last night, and guess what? North Carolina got the shit beat out of them. Why? TCU's a way better team. They've got better players. Not because North Carolina's jogging around. Not because North Carolina's not trying. North Carolina tried. They gave effort. They were running. You watch Alabama, there's none of that. None of that. North Carolina just got beat by a more talented team. What's Alabama's excuse? No effort. No leadership. You want to see your leadership? Here's your fucking leadership right here. This is your fucking leadership. What in the world? That is not helping. Did he need a fucking teddy bear in high school when he was busy breaking records and becoming the #1 high school recruit in the country? No. Why the fuck does he need it now? An anxiety teddy bear. What in the fuck is wrong with what has happened? What has happened? Alabama. That's what's happened. The Alabama Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide as in Alabama must have been on their period Saturday. Is that what it was? Alabama must have been on their period on Saturday. That's the only. Alabama must have been on there. Was Ryan Williams on his period? He carried his fucking teddy bear with his painted fingernails. What in the fuck are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Y'all, it's sad. It's fucking sad. Where's the Alabama fan that wants to take up for this teddy bear? There's got to be one. I want an Alabama fan to show up and take up for this fucking teddy bear. If y'all would have won that game, you'd be taking up for the teddy bear. You'd be on here making excuses about Ryan Williams' teddy bear if Bama would have won that game. But you didn't. You lost. So what are we going to do about this fucking teddy bear? Y'all are pitiful. You know what's not pitiful? The good people over at Sleeper. Yeah, that's right. Sleeper's been kind enough to sponsor the call-in shows this season. So download the Sleeper app today. It's available in Georgia and over 30 other states. South Carolina, it's all over the place. Download the Sleeper app. Have some fun watching these games. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app on the market. Check them out, Sleeper. Use the promo code LOU, L-O-U, and they're going to give you a 100% match on your deposit up to $100. Get on there and pick you some winners, over under on the passing yards. I missed mine this past weekend. I went 3 out of 4, though. I got greedy. I should have stayed at 3 picks. I had 3 picks, and I let the comment section talk me into doing 4 picks. And you know how these apps work. The more picks you make, the higher the payout is. Up to like 1,000 times your money. I did 4. I had Zachariah Branch over his receiving yards. That hit. I had Nicholas Harbor over his receiving yards. That hit. I had Garrett Nussmeier under his passing yards, and that hit. You know who screwed me? Cade Klubnik. Cade Klubnik's dead to me. Cost me $80. I had Cade Klubnik over 1.5 touchdown passes. From the looks of things, watching that Clemson offense, I might have to wait halfway through the season before that deadbeat gets over 1.5 touchdown passes. Holy shit, Clemson's offensive line is bad. Clemson's offensive line is horrible. My God. And they got no running game. Their best running back is a wide receiver that they're making play running back. It's bad. I mean, Clemson's still got a good defense. I still like the front 7. I think their wide receivers are good. Cade Klubnik might be good, but my God, the guy's got no time to throw the ball. And I know LSU's got a good defense, but holy shit, Cade Klubnik's a 3rd-year starter. He's been in the program for, 5 years now? 4 or 5 years now? He's a 3rd-year starter. Get the ball out. Get the ball out. Call some quick play. It was pretty clear that Clemson was not going to be able to block LSU's front in that game right away. Like, it didn't take long to figure that out. Call some quick fucking pat. What in the world? They got Cade Klubnik sitting back there, but sitting duck back there. Clemson's offensive line is really bad. And the running backs, too. Hey, were there any offensive linemen or running backs in the portal that you could have got? We won't use the portal. Yeah, I know. That's the problem. Well, that's one of them. You got a whole slew of problems. But anyway, so yeah, Cade Klubnik cost me on my sleeper pick this past weekend. But I'm going to give it another shot this weekend. Make sure you check them out. The good people over at Sleeper, promo code LOU, L-O-U.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using the code LOU. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Yeah, there you go. If you ever used Prize Picks before, it's just like Prize Picks, but it's called Sleeper. But it's literally the same. So check them out. Download the Sleeper app today. All right, y'all ready to get some phone calls and see what people have to say? Brag or cry. Here we go. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Lou.
What's up, buddy?
I'm here to talk about three things. Well, one, my USF Bowls that I predicted last week, I mean, they surpassed my expectations. I had them winning. I didn't think it would be like that.
Yeah, they blew them out. Blue Boys stayed out 34-7. Yeah.
Second, Friday night in the comments section, I said Alabama's defense terrible, and you called it fake news. Turns out not fake news.
Yeah, Alabama's
Second
dog
victory
shit.
lap. And then third, I want to preface this for everybody. So I grew up a Florida fan, then graduated from the University of Tennessee. So I have an honorary PhD in being lost in college football wilderness for 25 years. And I don't think the Bam man realizes how close they are to being in that position.
Yeah. Well,
Because Saban has raised their standards so high that I don't even think 2 10-2 seasons back-to-back could get them off DeBoer's back. If they perceive anything wrong, and big proof of this, have you watched Feinbaum this week?
No, I don't ever watch
First time I've stuck to a show for 3 years. The entire show is Alabama fans calling for DeBoer's job.
Oh, I'm sure.
One dude said if he were on life support and he had the opportunity to charge his phone at 1%, he'd pull the plug. I mean, it is brutal.
Yeah.
So their fan base needs to calm down because they are one big mistake because they'll boycott. They'll stop going to games if he loses like 2 or 3 more games. And now there would probably have to be like a big rival. So like Tennessee would have to be one of them, and then another massive upset. But if they stop going to games, they'll pull the trigger.
No, they're not firing DeBoer. So, I mean, it's just what it is.
But point is, they are dangerously close to falling off a cliff.
Yeah.
And they need to pull the reins back a little bit. But, you know, they've dominated for 20 years, so I kind of hope they go off that cliff.
Yeah. Well,
have a good one.
All right. Yeah, you too. Thank you for the call. Yeah, they're not firing DeBoer. They're not paying a $77 million buyout. That's not happening. 3 coaches got fired last year. Oh, that's it. Power 4. Only 3 coaches got fired, and the highest buyout paid was $9 million. With revenue share and the fact that these schools now know they have to pay out $21 million a year to the players, these days of schools paying $50, $60, $70, $80 million buyouts, those days are over. So they're stuck with DeBoer. North Carolina stuck with Bill Belichick. North Carolina gave Bill Belichick a $10 million a year. I mean, it's just insane, but, that's what they did. But so, I mean, DeBoer's not going anywhere. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's going on, Lou? How you doing?
Doing good, buddy.
Oh, it's good to be back home in Northeast Ohio. And you know what? After what I saw on Saturday, I'm very encouraged for the Buckeyes this year. I know I kind of had a lengthy dissertation last week. Sorry to kind of hog up the airwaves, but I think I nailed my prediction down to a T in terms of how the game would go. It was definitely kind of like what you said, it turned into very much a defensive slobber knocker. I thought, frankly, the moment was just going to be too big for Arch, and I'm very encouraged with what I saw with the Ohio State defense, really kind of disrupting his footwork in terms of him reading the ball and everything. And even for how conservative the offense was, yep. I overall thought it was a very good game plan by Hartline to, rather than trying to, force up some balls against a really vaunted Texas secondary, really kind of just running the ball, controlling the line of scrimmage for Ohio State. And I think I'm very encouraged for, what I saw on Saturday, and I'll be interested to see, how this is going to work out the rest of the year.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying with Texas and Arch Manning, but don't you think the moment was too big for Julian Sand too? I mean, Texas outgained Ohio. The Ohio State offense was non-existent. There was no Ohio State offense.
The thing was, though, and kind of how I see it is, while Ohio State got outgained by, I think it was like 130 yards, Ohio State had about 4.5 minutes more of time in terms of time possession. I think that made a major difference. I think that made a huge difference in terms of, yes, obviously we got outgained, but I think that we were able to do a little bit more with our offensive series. And frankly, I think, in certain trips, especially with Sark, I mean, he shot himself in the red zone again.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Texas was inside the 10 twice and got 0 points. I mean, It was a good win, but Ohio State's pretty lucky.
Oh, absolutely. And my thing, though, with saying is, for his position, I thought he played fairly admirably. Now, obviously, he didn't have the jaw-dropping stat line.
Then you have to say,
You,
well, here's the thing. Then you have to say the same thing about Arch Manning. You can't shit on one and try to tell me the other did good when the one that you're shitting on played as good or better than the one that you're saying played good. I know you're an Ohio State fan, so you want to believe that Sayin had some great game, but the reality is both quarterbacks were pretty terrible in this game. Jeremiah Smith had 6 drops.
What I say with Sayin is,
what's going on? What about Jeremiah Smith? What happened to his hands?
Oh, yeah.
The guy can't catch the ball.
He had a bad game, but my thing with Sayin is in terms of just the overall approach to the game plan, I think he played admirably in the sense that he wasn't forcing up balls like Arch was. I think he made overall good reads. Mind you, he had 3 of the incompletions were on drops, 2 of them from Jeremiah Smith, which is very uncharacteristic. But I think his overall approach to the game compared to Arch, he wasn't throwing up a lot of 50-50 balls. I thought he looked a lot more poised in the pocket. And obviously with Arch, I think he definitely improved as the game went on, mainly in the second half going into the fourth quarter. But
let me ask you,
I think mainly
if Ohio State and Texas played next weekend at the Rose Bowl, who do you think would be favored?
I think Texas would definitely. It's like I said last week. I think if Texas played this game later in the Conference League, I think they'd have a better shot.
If they played next week, if they played tomorrow, Texas would be favored on a neutral field against Ohio State. Yeah. I mean, Ohio State got outplayed. I mean, like you said, Texas shot themselves in the foot. You can't win a game of that magnitude when you get inside the 10 twice, inside the red zone 3 times and come away with no points, but twice inside the 10, once from the 6-inch line and come away with no points at all. I think both of those teams will be fine. I think they'll both make the playoffs. I think they're both going to score 40 points a game, but neither offense played well.
Oh, yeah. And I was mostly expecting that because, again, these are 2 elite defenses and whatnot. But frankly, as a Buckeyes fan, what really encouraged me was not only with this being Patricia's first game, I think Sark had mentioned this in his post-game presser, but the overall, the way that Patricia really used a lot of coverages, he disguised a lot of pre-snap, I think that really threw off Arch. And frankly, from the talent perspective, a lot of the depth guys made a major impact in this game, especially with guys like Arvell Reese, who was the complimentary linebacker to Sonny Styles. He had himself an absolute monster game, especially in the first half. And Jermaine Matthews, too, who was another returner, especially in the secondary. I mean, he picked off Arch in the third quarter. He was an absolute ball hawk the whole game. And it was great to see a lot of the depth guys from last year that are starting to flesh out more bigger roles in the team this year really shine in this marquee matchup.
Yeah, it was a big win. No doubt about it. Thank you for the call. Good to hear from you. Congrats on the win. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou, how's it going, buddy?
I'm good. How are you, bud?
I'm good.
Good.
Week 1 is in the books.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to see college football, kick off. Unintentional pun there, but anyways, I'm gonna start off with this quick conversation for you here. I think the biggest losers, at least of this week, how you have your season is over videos. I think I'm gonna do this here. I think the biggest losers of the week to me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I think the obvious loser to me is Alabama, just because of the way, the hype, the way things went. And I'm gonna say, I guess North Carolina, considering, the hype around Bill Belichick. I mean, the way that they performed last night against TCU was just absolutely shocking, in my opinion.
I don't think it wasn't a shock that they lost, but to get, I mean, let's be real. That they could have scored 65, 70 points, TCU. They foot off the gas. I remember looking up, because we were streaming the game. I remember looking up one time and there being 7 minutes left in the third quarter still. And I was like, holy shit. They could score 4 more touchdowns. Now they didn't. They foot off the gas, but that was a bloodbath of a game. I mean, that was just and I think I mentioned in the video earlier, and there's obviously when you get beat that bad, I could go position by position and criticize North Carolina, but they got to do something about quarterback. That Gio Lopez has the worst arm of any Power 4 quarterback maybe that I've ever seen. He can't throw a 10-yard out route on a line. He's really bad, really bad. So I don't know if they need to make a change there or how much that would even help, but that to me that stood out right away. That's a huge problem.
Right.
But I mean, it's in a game like that, you almost have to just, if you're North Carolina, you just have to throw that away. I don't even know if there's any point in watching the film or the tape. And I mean, you start talking about things to correct. It's everything. I mean, you just start over. Yeah. You just start from scratch, and you say, okay, whatever we did to prepare for this didn't work. We got to try something different here. I mean, they got that. It was. They'll go 2-10. What I saw yesterday, we'll go 2-10 this year.
Basically, what Florida State did last year.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad.
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
and I'll say this because you never know after week one, and this kind of applies to the Alabama-Florida State game because, like you mentioned, it's Alabama and now North Carolina that everybody's shitting on, and deservedly so. But it is week one, and at least for now, we have to at least consider the possibility that TCU and Florida State are both top 10 teams. Now, they're probably not, but like, but it's possible. So it could be that neither North Carolina or Alabama end up being as bad as they looked this weekend. I don't know. It's also possible that, like like you look at last year, Florida State was ranked in the top 10 week 0. They lose to Georgia Tech. Okay, so what did you think after that? Did you think that Georgia Tech was a top 10 team and beat another top 10 team? Or did you think that Florida State was terrible and got beat by a bad team in Georgia Tech? Well, Georgia Tech went 7-6, so it turned out that Georgia Tech wasn't great. They just beat a team, and Florida State was massively overhyped to start the season. So now fast forward to now. Florida State beats a top 10 team, Alabama. What does that mean for Florida State? Are they good? Are they great? Or are they 7-6 Georgia Tech that beat a massively overranked Alabama team? I don't know. None of us know.
And that's exactly. And that's why it's just week one. You don't really know if Alabama's going to still be a really good team, or you can't really tell if Florida State had, a fluke win. I'm not saying that they're going to go 3-9 or anything. Florida State played really, really well. They deserve to win against Alabama, for example. It's just we don't truly know how these teams are going to perform just because it's week one, and we just got to wait how these games go on week by week by week. But again, I think it was still a great win for Florida State. They like I said, they played well enough to win. Alabama has a lot to work on, because if they don't get their crap together, in the next few weeks, by the time SEC play starts, remember, because I think their first game in the conference is against Georgia, so they have to get it together
at Georgia
as soon as possible. At Georgia, exactly. And
back to Florida State with Castellanos.
Yes.
And this is another thing I mentioned. We all owe an apology to Castellanos.
We do.
We buried that man for the comments he made all offseason about Alabama, and Florida State went out and won the game. So I've already done that. He was right and everybody else was wrong. However, now there's this Tommy Castellanos hype train that I think is a little bit ridiculous, because I don't think Castellanos is a very good quarterback. I still don't. Now, he backed up his words about Florida State beating Bama. Yeah. But the guy had 150 yards passing and 75 yards. He had 225 yards total and 1 total touchdown. I mean,
didn't light the world up on fire.
Right. I mean, Florida State won the game. In other words, I'm more impressed with Florida State, the team, than I am Tommy Castellanos, the quarterback. But he still is owed the apology from everybody that buried him for the comments he made over the summer, because the guy, his team went out and backed it up. But some of the hype I've seen about Tommy, he's the best quarterback in the ACC. No, he's not. No, he's not.
That's Carson Beck.
Right now, it's Carson Beck. I mean, maybe by the end of the year, but if you just go off what we've seen so far, it's Carson Beck. But we'll see. I mean, Florida State's way better than they were last year, no matter how good or bad Alabama ends up being. It's a big win for Florida State.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you for the call, man. It was good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Lou? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Where's that retard Octavian at? Is he in here?
No.
Damn. Well, then let me ask you some questions. What you think of Georgia's D-line? I know it's Marshall, but do you think any improvement from last season? so far that you've
Oh, I
seen?
thought the defense played great. I thought it looked way better than anything we saw last year. I mean, I know it was Marshall, but we played some Marshalls last year, and the defense didn't play that good. So I
agree.
think the defense is clearly better than last year.
Did you see that fan flicking that cameraman off? That was hilarious. The Alabama man.
Oh yeah. I think everybody saw that. Yeah.
Do you think Georgia can have a shot at beating Alabama? Because Alabama can start off shitty, then go beat the hell out of Georgia.
Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised at all if Alabama shows up in Athens and plays their best game of the year and beats Georgia. That won't surprise me at all. That's their Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's their ceiling this year is a big regular season win. Will it be Georgia? Will it be LSU? Will it be Tennessee? I don't know, but like that's their ceiling is a big regular season win. They're basically Florida right now. They want one big regular season win, and I wouldn't be surprised if they show up in Athens and beat Georgia. No, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I agree with you. So the Alabama defense that was pitiful.
Yeah, it was.
You couldn't even tackle that freshman running back. What is his name?
Who?
You remember that? You know that freshman running back for Florida State?
No.
That was running over Alabama?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. The Florida State bully them.
All right, buddy. Thank you for the call. It's good to hear from you.
Good day.
Yeah, good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's happening, Uncle Lou?
Hey, buddy. What's
I
going on?
have to say, what was your biggest disappointments over the weekend?
Clemson's offense, I think, was disappointing. And look, I know LSU's got a great defense. There's no question. They hit on a lot of their portal pieces. That's pretty obvious. So, a lot of teams are going to struggle to move the ball and score against LSU. But, well, let me compare it to this. So, like the Texas-Ohio State game, okay? Those are two good defenses, too, and it was low scoring, too, just like the Clemson-LSU game. But those were two brand-new quarterbacks there. LSU and Clemson, you've got two of the most veteran, experienced quarterbacks in all of college football that are top 4 in Heisman odds, both of them. And Klubnik looked really bad. I mean, some of that's the offensive line. He had no time. But, like, again, because of the experience he has, you would like to think, okay, well, he'll make some checks at the line or something and get rid of the ball quicker, do something. He had no answers at all. He was really bad. That was disappointing to me. I had 2 questions about Clemson heading into the year because I had them in my top 5, and who knows, they may still end up there. But I had 2 questions about Clemson heading into the season: their offensive line and their running backs. And when I watched that game on Saturday, they have a terrible offensive line and they have no running backs, and that's a problem. Because as good as Cade Klubnik is, I don't think you want him in a situation where he's throwing the ball 45 times a game because he has to, because they can't run the ball at all. But that offensive line was bad. They don't have an answer at running back. Their leading running back was a wide receiver that was playing running back, Adam Randall, a converted wide receiver. So they've got issues on the offensive line and at running back that are going to hurt them, even against teams not named LSU.
That's fair. I think my biggest one for me was how much of the hype train Notre Dame had coming in and how kind of vanilla their whole offensive was. Carr might be a good quarterback by the end of the year, but I think a lot of teams had freshman quarterbacks with lofty expectations. I mean, Texas did, Notre Dame did. So many teams were just relying on these freshman names to come in and just deliver. The only quarterback I actually thought out of the freshman group that played halfway worth a dang was Sayin, only because he was okay with the ball. He released it in a fairly good amount of time, and he didn't have any mistakes.
Yeah, well, Manning's not a freshman. I mean, he's a junior.
Oh, he's Sayin?
No, Manning.
Oh, Manning. Manning doesn't. I don't trust Texas. I didn't trust Texas coming in all season. They didn't have much of a running game, I thought, this year. I thought they would have a good wide receiver core, but Manning, I just thought Texas might be a little hollow, especially on the defensive end. I kind of think that Ohio State was relying on a freshman QB, just like Notre Dame was and a couple other teams. And you need time for the QBs to grow before they are. I have to say, Miami is a team I still feel is very hollow, just because, once again, they played down to Notre Dame's level, even when they had control. Once again, we just see the fourth quarter slip up, and Notre Dame wasn't even playing good against Miami.
The thing I don't
Miami allowed
understand
them
about
back
Notre
in.
Dame is, okay, you have a true freshman quarterback. He's getting his first start on the road against a top 10 team. Well, it's a good thing you've got the best running back in college football in Jeremiah Love. Where was he at the first 2.5 quarters of the game? Notre Dame came out with a game plan to throw the ball. I don't understand putting the game in the hands of a true freshman quarterback when you've got one of the best running backs in football behind you. That's what I mean, if you look at when Notre Dame finally started to get back into the game in the third quarter, it was when they started giving the ball to Jeremiah Love. I don't know what they were thinking in the first half with the run pass sort of split there. It didn't make any sense to me.
Best running back room in the country, though, is going to be Oregon. I think it's absolutely hilarious. Mekhi Hughes, big, powerful running back, star running back from Tulane last year, transfers in. All expected him to be the number one running back. He's not. It doesn't even look like he cracked the top 3 depth rotation. So could be a personal issue there, but Noah Whittington, they have 3 or 4 top 5 recruits coming in on that. I think, honestly, Oregon's depth this year is, by the end of the season, they will be in another competing for that national, whether or not they win it. That's a lofty expectation, but no, I don't see it. Washington was my other disappointment. I had really hoped they would have had an offensive line this year. Nope. No, what's his name? Quarterback's going to be running for his life. UCLA was my other one where I went, wow, you finished the season strong, regressed hard in the offseason. That was a pretty sad one to see. K-State was another one that had a lot of hype train.
They're dead to me.
Yep, dead to me too. I wrote them off completely after the first quarter. I was just, that offense is trash. They're probably a 7-5 team, and they're only going to get that just because the Big 12 is weak.
Yeah, I had
think
them in my top
Miami's gonna
15
look the same.
preseason, and I don't even have them ranked anymore.
No, I think Miami and Castellanos, I agree with you. Castellanos looks good. I think Florida State's talent is going to make Castellanos look better than he is, and Miami and Florida State benefit from playing in a league that only has Florida and Miami playing in it.
Yeah.
So other than that, I don't have it. Lou, appreciate everything you do. You're the best, bud.
Yeah,
Keep
man.
it up.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, buddy.
Obviously, a lot of things to talk about after week 1. Obviously, the best game of the week was obviously Miami and Notre Dame. One of the more high-scoring games in the top 10. Carson Beck looked pretty good. Outside of that one touchdown pass where that guy went up and grabbed it in a one-handed.
That was an unbelievable catch. Unbelievable. Odell
if
Beckham
it wasn't for that, it probably would have been picked. But, I mean, Carson Beck looked good, made good decisions. You can tell he's more confident playing. I mean, I don't know what happened, but,
well, the offensive line. I mean, he's got Miami's offensive line this year is
one of the best in the country.
Better than Georgia's last year. I watched that game, and I don't even usually it's natural. I think you want to pay attention to the quarterbacks and the running backs and the wide receivers and the DBs and like line of scrimmage tends to be like one of the last things you look at, or at least for me. But you can't help but notice it right away when you watch Miami. Their offensive line is unbelievably good. It's got to be the best offensive line in the country. It has to be.
That freshman, Tony, I mean, that guy can ball, too. He came in and made some plays right off the bat.
Oh, yeah, he was fun
to watch. Carson Beck. I mean, Miami, with all the amount they lost last year in wide receivers, I mean, they sure made up for it.
Yeah.
I mean, Carson Beck's got some weapons he can go to this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Miami – now, my question is Florida State this good or is Alabama just this bad?
Yeah, well,
it's either one of those two.
We'll find out in a few weeks. Miami and Florida State play. So, that's going to be a good one. I think it's a primetime game this year, too.
Week 2 doesn't have that many good games outside of Oklahoma and Michigan.
I don't know. I don't know. Kansas and Missouri, I think will be really good. UNLV and UCLA is worth watching. Iowa State, Kentucky and Ole Miss play. Kentucky only had one SEC win last year, and it was against Ole Miss. And this game's at Kentucky, so I think that's interesting. There's a handful. There's 4 or 5 good ones on.
Well, obviously, I also watched I was watching both the Auburn Baylor and the Georgia Tech Colorado game. I mean, you can Jackson Arnold. They didn't really throw it that much, but you can tell he's a good runner with the ball.
Yes,
they didn't really.
Too,
he missed some throws. He didn't look all that good, but
yeah.
I mean, that's what that got him won in the game was him running the ball in the running game.
Yeah, Auburn's offensive line is terrible. Jackson Arnold was running for his life, and luckily he's really good at it. But every time he dropped back, Baylor was all over him.
And you can tell Colorado's defensive line, they're not good. They can't stop the run. Haynes King was making plays and ended up winning that game for him.
Yeah, for Georgia Tech to turn the ball over on their first 3 possessions on the road and still win just tells you how bad Colorado is, because it's hard to turn the ball over 3 times and win like that.
That also kept Colorado in the game.
Yeah, that's the only thing. They only scored 7 points off of those 3 turnovers. They were bad. All right, buddy. Hey, thank you for the call. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What a great week 1, man. Great games. I was able to slaughter the bookie with Miami money line. So thank you, Carson Beck. I wanted to take a moment and apologize to Tommy Castellanos. Apologize to the FSU man. And not only do I apologize for my brazen ignorance, I'm going to wholeheartedly thank them for giving us probably the best week 1 result we could have asked for. I mean, college football is the longest off season. You spend 8 months waiting for the season. And just like that, the Alabama man's season's over. It's crushed.
Yeah.
Pitiful. And that's amazing for the rest of us. Michigan killed Alabama and Pac-12 Kalen. In 2023, Michigan beat Saban in the Rose Bowl, and they went on to beat Pac-12 Kalen in the Natty. Saban retired, Pac-12 Kalen left Washington, went to Bama, and then at the end of 2024, just to rub it in, we beat Bama and Pac-12 Kalen again. So you can disagree in chat. Michigan killed Alabama and Pac-12 Kalen. I know most people were probably watching the LSU Clemson game for good reason. I'm ecstatic with how Bryce looked. I know it was New Mexico, but you got to understand we had Alex Orji and Davis Warren last year, so that was pretty down bad. Did you get a chance to watch that game too much, or I know you were watching the other one?
The Michigan game?
On Underwood, or yeah?
I thought he was okay. Nothing. I thought he could run some, but I guess I was wrong.
No, he can run. They just didn't want to because they didn't want him to get hit.
Okay.
And you'll see him. And if you disagree, you'll see him run this week.
Okay, because he had negative yards there on that.
Yeah, he didn't try to run a single time.
Okay.
He took 2 sacks.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was by design. He runs a 4.6.
Yeah.
So
I didn't see anything to change my mind about my pick this weekend. I think it's going to be a good game, but I'm sticking with Oklahoma at home.
Yeah, I think that's a totally fair pick. I mean, as much as I like Bryce, it's true freshman, good defense, road environment. I think it'll be a good game, but
yeah,
definitely see Oklahoma winning for sure. We'll see. I like our chances, but yeah, I think what's the line now? 6.5?
Something like right under a touchdown. Yeah, I think it started at 5 and it's been bet up.
Yeah. Well, before the season started, it was like 1.
Yeah.
It was like Oklahoma by 1. So after week 1, the public agrees with you. Oklahoma, they bought them up to cover. One thing I want to ask, and I'm going to get out of here. How would you rank these coaches in terms of which ones least know what the fuck they're doing?
Oh, boy.
The head coach of UNC, Jordan Hudson, Sun Belt Billy, and Pac-12 Kalen.
Bill Belichick, he would be 1. Billy Napier, 2. Kalen DeBoer, 3. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
How you doing, Lou?
Hey, buddy. I'm good.
All right. Well, week 1 gave us a good bit to talk about. I'll start out with our own team, the Dogs. I know we only played Marshall, but what are your overall thoughts on their performance against Marshall?
I thought the defense looked better than last year. I like that they I didn't know if they were going to let Gunner start to run the ball or what the deal was with that, because in Notre Dame, against Notre Dame, they didn't. And so I was glad to see all the sort of zone reads where they're letting Gunner decide to keep it or not and run the ball, because I don't really see any benefit to playing Gunner if you're not going to let him run around. I'd rather, in other words, if it's a Notre Dame Sugar Bowl from last year game plan, I'd rather have Puglisi. I'll just be honest. I think Puglisi's a better passer than
and
Gunner.
I agree. Like, I noticed Gunnar Stockton's very good. Don't get me wrong. Puglisi, when he's throwing the ball, his throws just look a lot more crisp.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can watch him warm up. You don't need to be – I'm not a football expert. I'm definitely no QB coach or whatever. But, I mean, you can watch two people throw the football and tell which one's got the better arm. Like, that's not hard to do, and it's Puglisi by a mile. But if they're going to call plays that allow Gunner to be Gunner, then I think Gunner can have a great year. And I've got no problem with Gunner being the QB. I was disappointed in the running backs, and I was disappointed in the run blocking. I didn't really see that much of an improvement there over what we saw last year. I mean, Gunner was the leading rusher. I don't really think I want Gunner to run. I don't know that he should be the leading rusher. I agree. Dwight Phillips, I thought Dwight Phillips looked good. He's the closest thing we've had to a James Cook or a DeAndre Swift, somebody that could take it 80 yards if he gets loose with the speed that he's got. Nate Frazier really did nothing at all.
He was 11 for 40 something.
Yes, 4 yards a carry against Marshall. I mean, that's nothing. I mean, if he averages 4 yards a carry for the year, that's disappointing. And this is one of the worst defenses we'll play, Marshall. I mean, there's nothing special about 11 carries, 44 yards for your number one running back. That's 4 yards a carry is not elite in college football.
I agree.
You need to be 5-6 yards carry or higher. Bo Walker had one good run, but then that was it. Now, it's hard to know for sure exactly what all this means going forward, because they played 120 people in the game. I mean, everybody played. So you don't take the wide receivers, for example. They threw the ball to Colby Young one time. They threw the ball to Noah Thomas, I think, one time. Well, those are the two starting wide receivers. But they were rotating people in and out so much, it was hard to really know. It's hard to really gauge a lot from that. I think once we get into the meat of the schedule, you're not going to see 9 different wide receivers playing. I think it's going to be Zachariah Branch in the slot, Noah Thomas on one side, and Colby Young on the other. And that's going to be your 3 wide receivers 75% of the time. And then they'll rotate a Dylan Bell in and out. They'll rotate some of those freshmen that have some talent in and out. But it's going to be mainly those 3.
And I was very happy with what I saw from Zachariah Branch so far. I mean, like, he's exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah, we've been missing
to be
that.
as a slot receiver.
Yeah, we've been missing that, and they were letting him return kicks too, so that was good. Overall, it's Marshall, and people need to know what Marshall is, because some people say, well, Marshall was 10-3 and won the Sun Belt or whatever it is. They're a good team. That ain't this Marshall team. This Marshall team is dog shit this year. They got 70 new players. Their entire team quit last year. They didn't even have enough players left they had to turn down their bowl game. Everybody entered the portal because their coach quit and took another job. This year's Marshall team is not last year. This Marshall team is terrible. But Georgia played some terrible non-con teams last year and didn't play as good as they played Saturday. So I think from what I saw, which is hard to judge because it's Marshall, they beat up on Marshall better than they beat up on bad teams last year. They looked better against Marshall than they looked against the terrible teams they played. Yes, so they looked to be a little bit better. Better enough to win the SEC again, or to make the playoffs again, or to go on a playoff run. I mean, I don't know. We got to see something against real competition before I'm willing to talk about that. But I mean, there was nothing that happened that I was like, oh boy, this is bad. Like we're going 7-5 now. Like it wasn't that. They went out there, they played a bad team, and they went out and did what they were supposed to do. So.
Absolutely. The other subject I was going to touch on, which a lot of people, which has been a hot topic for week 1, was how Alabama just completely regressed. Like I knew they were going to take a step back with Kalen DeBoer. I was not expecting them to be the team that were under Nick Saban, but basically, I don't know what happened. They just that narrative of Ohio State being soft in the trenches completely just shifted to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
It's really mind-boggling. And if you look back on all 5 of the losses, the 5 teams they lost to just completely ran all over them. Vanderbilt ran all over them. Oklahoma ran all over them. Michigan ran all over them. Who's the one other team I'm missing?
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yeah,
Bama's,
Dylan Sampson ran all over them.
Bama's 5-5
teams,
in their last 10 games.
Yeah.
Just say that out loud. Bama is 5-5 in their last 10 games. Kalen DeBoer has lost. Kalen DeBoer has coached 14 games at Alabama. In those 14 games, he's lost to 4 unranked teams. 4 unranked losses in 14 games. Nick Saban coached 258 games at Alabama before he lost to 4 unranked teams.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, all these offenses that beat them were similarly ran. Like, they just had a mobile quarterback that was running on them, where they would hand it off to a running back and they would run it right down their throat. And from what it looks like, that's the same kind of offense Georgia is looking to have with Gunnar Stockton and all these running backs too. Yeah. And these teams are just challenging Alabama in the trenches, saying, "Okay, we're going to take it right to your face and punch you right in the mouth." And every single time, Alabama has let it happen.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've seen this clip about this one guy. I don't remember what his name was. It was number 18, where he's just like jogging.
Oh yeah, there's multiple. There's multiple clips all over Twitter where Alabama's players on their defense are just jogging around. I mean, it's unbelievable to see. I mean, it's unrecognizable. Hey, thank you for the call. It's good to hear from you. Speaking of Alabama, what's up, Ballard?
Yeah, I just have one thing to say. I do want to talk about some games this week, but in regards to the coaching staff at Alabama, I think Trump put it best when he said, he put it best that way. But anyway, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, we got a couple interesting games this week here, week 2. Oklahoma State at Oregon. I think Oregon's going to kill Oklahoma State, in my opinion.
Nobody gives a shit about that. You're an Alabama fan. What the fuck? I mean, no one cares what you think about Oklahoma and Oregon State. You're an Alabama fan. What is going on? What's the problem? Is Kane Womack fired yet? What's going on? What's the deal? Yeah, you're an Alabama fan. Come on, let's own up to it. Y'all are fucking dog shit, dude. Y'all fucking suck. What's the problem?
I know we fucking suck.
All right, well, what's the problem? What's going on? What's the deal? You're not going to call up here and just skip over that like you didn't get your ass beat by Florida State. I mean, what the fuck? What happened?
I mean, they had 8 months to prepare for this.
So did you.
It blew up in their face. Me?
Yeah.
I'm not a player. I'm not a coach, dummy. Come on, man.
So when Alabama wins, it's we're national champions. But when you lose to Florida State, it's they lost to Florida State?
No, the fans need to stick with the team. But I'm not the one practicing for the game.
Okay, well,
I practice yelling at when they breaking
win,
TVs like you do, but we got ULM this week, man. I don't consider that a game we got to bounce back and we got to win it, obviously. Otherwise, shit's really going to hit the fan, but I'm not going to define our season off of that.
All right, now what's with the fucking teddy bear then? What's that?
With Ryan Williams?
Yeah. Is there another Alabama player that's carrying a teddy bear around that I don't know about?
Not to my knowledge.
So the best player on your team paints his fingernails and carries a teddy bear around. What is going on?
And don't forget his binky.
What is
Binky
going on?
Williams. I don't know, man. Like, we're just soft. We've become soft. We've become Ohio State. I don't know how else to put it. That's the way I view it.
What do you think would happen if Ryan Williams tried to carry a teddy bear into the stadium when Nick Saban was coach? Do you think that would have happened? I don't.
No.
I don't think that would have happened.
Nick Saban would have tore that teddy bear up and told him to get his ass on the field and be a grown man. That's it. I mean, yeah, Saban wouldn't have let that fly.
Is it tough?
But Kalen DeBoer,
Is
Kalen
it tough
DeBoer lets
for a
it fly.
football player to carry a teddy bear around? Is that a tough image? We're tough, and
I don't
there's
think
a
so.
fucking build a bear to prove it.
Yeah. We need to be built for tough, not build a bear tough, you know? Anyway, could I talk about what I wanted to talk about with these week 2 games?
You can try, but if I think of something else, because here's the thing. These Alabama fans have been calling up every call-in show on the planet for 15 years with their chest poked out about how goddamn good they are and how they're going 100-0 and how they could beat everybody that they don't play. And now that they're dog
That's
shit,
not
you
me.
want to call me up and talk about Oklahoma State and Oregon. That's funny to me. But go ahead.
You know me, man. I just love college football in general.
Yeah, I
Alabama
know you.
just happens to be my team because I was raised on it.
Right. I know you. You're 23 years old, and you don't know
Yeah.
what it's like for your team to be dog shit, but you're about to find out.
I know, man. Reality hits hard pretty quick, don't it?
All right. Tell us about Oregon and Oklahoma State.
Actually, I had 2 other games in mind: Vandy, Virginia Tech, and Iowa State. I think those are going to be 2 very interesting games, especially with, Virginia Tech. I don't think they're going to be one of those world-beating teams. I don't think they looked really good against South Carolina. I thought the defense looked pretty good considering they went up against a quarterback in Lenora Sellers and only held them to 24 points. But, Vandy got off to a hot start with the big win, at least in terms of points, 45 points in the opener to start out. They bring back Pavia. I don't know. This might be an interesting game. It's at Virginia Tech. It's on the ACC network. And then I also got to hype this one up because, need I remind you, we have a bet for Iowa's win total. I need the Cyclones to get their butts handed to them from the Hawkeyes in the Cy-Hawk battle this week.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. Somebody's going to win 7-4.
Yeah, the point spread does favor the Cyclones, who are 2-0 by 3.5. I gotta have hope in the Hawkeyes, man. Like I said, I made the bet with you. Need them to win 8 games or more. It's got to start here, man. I'm going with the upset.
All right. Well, we'll see. Thank you for calling in,
right,
Ballard.
thanks.
It's good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's going on, Lou? How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, so I'm just here because I'm just tired of the disrespect FSU's been getting lately, and it's just unbelievable what I'm seeing. You got.
Well, it's not unbelievable. You went 2-10. I mean, what? I mean.
Okay, but that's last year. We're a whole different team.
Right, but no one's disrespecting Florida State from Saturday to today, are they?
Oh, did you see the coaches poll? Did you see the AP poll? They have us 19 in the coaches poll. They have us, I think, 14 in the AP poll.
Why is that disrespectful? You came from unranked all the way up to 14 and 19. Why is that disrespectful? You should be ahead of Bama, but I think probably somewhere between 15 and 20 is where you should be.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. When Georgia Tech beat you last year, should they have been ranked in the top 10?
That was an underrated Georgia Tech team. I mean, they took y'all to overtime, didn't they?
I'm not asking you. They were unranked. You were in the top 10. They beat you. Was Georgia Tech ranked in the top 10 the following week? Yes or no?
No, they weren't.
So was it disrespectful to Georgia Tech?
I could see an argument for it, but I think we're a different team. I mean, is Georgia Tech a blue blood?
Neither is Florida State.
You're saying Florida State, FSU, is not a blue blood.
Brother, they were terrible until the mid-'80s. Do you know what it means to be a blue blood? They didn't do shit until the mid-'80s. What are you talking about, Florida State, a blue blood? They're like 30th all time in wins. What are you talking about?
But you have to consider what we've done. Did you remember Jameis Winston whenever, in the early 2010s? We were killing teams.
Yeah, being good doesn't make you a blue blood. Being good 50 years ago and 40 years ago and 30 years ago and 20 years ago and 10 years ago and now makes you a blue blood. Florida State, there's nothing Florida State can do to ever become a blue blood because you were terrible the first 80 years you existed.
So with that logic, then there's nothing we can do to lose our status as a blue blood.
You're not a blue. You never became a blue blood. You never were a blue blood. There's 8 blue bloods, and Florida State ain't one of them.
I can agree to disagree. I think it's pretty set in stone.
Good,
I mean, that's like
good.
saying
Georgia Tech
Miami
wasn't a
isn't a
top
blue
10
blood.
team last. Miami's not a blue blood. You're correct. Miami was absolutely terrible until the mid-'80s. So, no, Miami's not a blue blood. Florida State's not a blue blood. Florida Gators aren't a blue blood. The blue bloods are Alabama, Notre Dame, Southern Cal, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Michigan, Ohio State. The 8 teams that have been relevant in college football for the entirety of its existence. Not Florida State, who was an all-girls clown college while those teams were busy becoming blue bloods 60 years ago.
So you're saying Nebraska is a blue blood, but FSU isn't?
Yes.
But is Nebraska ranked?
Being a blue blood has nothing to do with whether or not you're ranked. Are you telling me that Florida State wasn't a blue blood yesterday because they weren't ranked yesterday, but today they are a blue blood because they're ranked?
But no, we definitely were a blue blood. I mean, I can see yesterday before the game you can make an argument that we weren't, but we certified it by beating Bama.
You don't become a blue blood and then unbecome one and then become one and then unbecome one. That's not what a blue blood is. You have a basic misunderstanding or ignorance of what a blue blood is.
Well, Alabama was a blue blood, but are they blue blood now? Clearly not.
Yes.
They would have.
Yes. Yes, Alabama is a blue blood. What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
That doesn't even make sense. Did you see the score?
I'm hanging up.
Wait, hold on.
I'm hanging up. I can't be expected to sit here for free and talk to somebody that fucking retarded. You are a goddamn idiot. Alabama was a blue blood Saturday at 3:29 p.m. They lose to Florida State. Now they're not a blue blood. Florida State wasn't a blue blood at 3:29 p.m. on Saturday. They beat Alabama, became ranked today. So today they became a blue blood because they got... You are the dumbest motherfucker that has ever called into this show. And I don't know if you're new here or not, but there are some literal mouth breathers that call in here on a weekly basis. And you're at the top of that food chain. It's unbelievable how retarded you are. Five-star dummy. Florida State was ranked in the top 10 last year in the preseason. In their first game, they lost to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech didn't get ranked in the top 10 the next week. Georgia Tech ended up going 7-6. Florida State just beat a top 10 Alabama team. Florida State was unranked. Florida State gets ranked 15 or whatever they got ranked. You might end up going 7-6 like Georgia Tech. I mean, there's no difference. Georgia Tech beat you last year. You beat Bama this year. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I do agree that Florida State should be ranked ahead of Alabama. I dropped Alabama out of my top 25. They lost to an unranked team and looked like shit doing it. I dropped them out of my top 25 and I moved Florida State in. Where did I have Florida State? 19? Something around there? So if there's a poll out there that still has Alabama ahead of Florida State, I think that's ridiculous because they've each only played one game. It was against each other, and we all saw who won. And it wasn't particularly close. So it doesn't make any sense at all to have Florida State ranked behind Bama. But I don't know what in the fuck that guy's talking about with the blue blood shit. Like, you used to be... The guy literally wants us to believe that Alabama was a blue blood 4 days ago, but not a blue blood now because they lost to Florida State, who is a blue blood today, but wasn't a week ago. I don't know what's wrong with it. You don't become and then unbecome blue blood. Blue blood is a term to designate programs that were good 50 and 60 years ago and have remained relevant throughout the history of college football. No one that is not a blue blood will ever become one. I don't understand what the infatuation with it is to begin with. Would you rather be Florida State right now or Nebraska right now? Who gives a shit that Nebraska's a blue blood? I don't. Notre Dame's a blue blood. They haven't won anything in 40 years. They haven't won a natty since 1988. They've been blown out in every conference championship game they've ever played in. They're a blue blood. You want to be them instead? Do you want to be Southern Cal? Georgia's not a blue blood. I'm not trading places with any of those deadbeats. I'm not trading places with Southern Cal, Nebraska, Notre Dame, none of them. Georgia's got 2 natties in the last 4 seasons. Georgia's the top program in all of college football. Why would I trade places with somebody else just because they're a blue blood? Georgia's not a blue blood. I don't understand people. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. And no, LSU's not a blue blood, so don't even ask. LSU is not a blue blood.
I'm not going to that hole. But
okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
But man, so is NASCAR about to get a huge influx of new fans?
Yes, they are. These Alabama fans are jumping ship, man. They can't wait. They're like rats off the Titanic.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. So Brian Kelly finally, wins the opening game. But I still think he doesn't know when to kick a damn field goal.
Yeah.
I think he should have kicked the field goal before halftime.
I agree.
Considering how much time was left. Even if he gets the first down, they're not going to have any time to get probably a touchdown. So
yeah,
he's done it every first game he's played. He's not taking points,
and it's cost them wins in the past. I mean, they ended up winning this game, so not very many people are talking about that decision because they ended up winning the game. But I was watching it, and I said when it was happening, this is the wrong decision. This is going to be a low-scoring game. Points are going to be hard to come by. You got to take the points there, and he continues to. I mean, it is his fault. He's the head coach, but he's not the only one. Analytics has ruined a lot of these coaches' brains. Like, I think analytics should be a part of what you do. It's a tool like anything else. I don't think it should be blindly relied on, though. If that's the case, you don't need a head coach at all. You can just pay me $15 an hour to read the analytics chart. Do this now. Right. Okay, now do this. Okay, now do this. Like, you're paying a guy $10 million a year to actually make that decision. Should we do what the analytics says, or how much time's left on the clock? Well, it's a low-scoring game. We might not get back down here. We better take the points. And Brian Kelly and other coaches do it too, but Brian Kelly in particular, it's cost him wins the last couple of years.
Yeah. But, I mean, our defense, it's been a long time since we had a defense. I know it's one game. I'm not going to overreact about, 1 week. But
it looked really good,
for
though.
1 week,
that defense looked
our
really
defense
good.
looked like 2011.
Yeah, it was really good.
That kind of defense. I still think we need to get some more running backs in the flow. I think Caden Durham was the only guy that we really ran the ball with Saturday night, and I'd like to see more of our freshmen play. Maybe they'll play this week. We'll be playing Louisiana Tech, so I'm sure they'll play this week. But I do like our receiving core. I think Aaron Anderson's our best receiver. I think he was our best receiver last year, and I think he's our best receiver this year. But I think one thing that we really do need to, target more is Trey Green. He's a really big target in the red zone. I know he did have that touchdown, but I just think we need to use him more. Because I'm big on them tight ends, man. When they got height advantage, and I saw it with Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham with the Saints, man. It's tough to defend.
Yeah.
You can't defend height, man. But I'm not gonna overreact because I've watched Brian Kelly lose games. He's gonna lose games this year. I mean, he's gonna lose to somebody, whether it's Alabama or Ole Miss. I mean, he's gonna lose a game. He is. I just hope he doesn't lose 3 and knock us out the playoffs. But all in all, I mean, I was happy. Nussmeier played well, didn't turn the ball over on the road, and that's something he did. He did turn the ball over against A&M last year, Florida. So
he outplayed Klubnik for sure. He was the better quarterback in that game, no question about it.
So, but before I go, some of these coaches with their time management. You saw it with prime time.
Yeah.
I mean, he left those 2 timeouts in his pocket when he could have had at least 2 or 3 more plays in that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't get. I mean, it's like with analytics and clock management. I just don't get coaches. They don't know what to do, man.
Kirby had a problem with that his first year, 2016, and I about was losing my mind. His clock management was horrific in 2016. I mean, I can't tell you how many times at the end of halves or end of games he made boneheaded clock management decisions with timeouts or not using them or not doing this and not. And I used to get so damn mad about it, but he's sort of learned as he's gone along. And I don't know, maybe Dion will get better with it as it goes along too. But yeah, everybody was pointing that out about Dion in that Colorado Georgia Tech game. Like, how do you let that game end with those timeouts in your pocket? Like, it didn't make no sense.
Yeah, it really didn't. But
all right, Goose. Good win.
That's all I got. That's all I got, man.
All right, buddy. Big win for LSU. And a big loss for Uncle Lou's ears with these headphones and the cricket routine you got going out there in the bayou, bud. We got to figure out something to get that cleared up. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Look, I hear all you Georgia fans talking shit on Bama's name, bro. Kiss the 18 natties, buddy.
You don't
Georgia's
have 18
forever.
natties. You don't have 18
Bro,
natties.
Georgia's forever the little brother to Bama, man. I don't want to hear that shit coming from y'all. Y'all
No,
can't
you're gonna
beat us,
hear it.
even if it was
You're gonna
our
hear it
worst
because
year,
you're
man.
fucking dog shit. Y'all are fucking terrible.
Bro,
Your
y'all can't
players
be
are carrying
Kalen
teddy
DeBoer
bears.
owns fucking Kirby Smart. I own you.
Do you
Bama
carry a teddy
owns
bear
you,
around?
and Bama owns Georgia.
You carry a teddy bear around too for your anxiety?
Fuck no.
You
Fuck
paint your
no.
nails like Ryan Williams?
And it's a T-Rex, buddy. Get that shit right.
You paint your fingernails and carry a stuffed animal
I
around
don't.
for your anxiety, bud.
I also don't bark at people and get on my knees like y'all Georgia fans do.
But do
dog.
you paint your nails and carry around a stuffed animal and get your ass beat by Florida State? You know
My
Georgia
King
beat
Ryan
Florida State
Williams he carries around a
63-3.
T-Rex, not a teddy bear. Get it right, buddy.
Your king,
Bama owns you.
Your king Ryan Williams, is that what you said? Holy shit.
Damn right, buddy.
How
Get
long
that
have y'all
shit
been
right.
dating?
It's none of your business, man.
Okay. You're right. Actually, it's not, but it's just interesting that you would admit
Yeah,
it.
Bama
here
owns you,
live
owns
on
Georgia.
Uncle Lou's
I
show.
own you, and you know that, Lou.
You own me? I don't even know who you are. You don't own me.
I own you.
No,
you don't want this, bro. You don't want this.
Or, want what? You're right. I don't want you. What? You call Ryan Williams. Well, this is weird.
Oh.
I don't
You can't
want. I'm
handle
not
it, and
dating
Bama
you.
owns you. And when they play in a few weeks, you know that. When Bama comes and beats Georgia.
You can't even beat Florida State.
Who cares? Florida State's better than Georgia.
You care. You're in shambles. Look how irate
I'm not
you
in
are.
shambles. I'm
Yeah,
not
you
in
are.
shambles.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you
'Cause
are.
I know we'll beat Georgia.
Is that your goal?
And you're talking about Georgia being the best program in the country?
It is.
Knowing Alabama's better than you?
No, Georgia's the best program in the country.
No, it's not. It never has been.
Yeah, Georgia's the best program in the country.
Never
they
has
are.
been. It's always been below Alabama.
Georgia's got 2 natties since the last time you won one.
Okay. Does that make you all better?
All time? No, but right now Georgia's the best program in the country. Of course they
Georgia's
are.
never been better than Alabama. Of
course
Y'all
they
beat us
have.
one time since 2007.
We've got 2 natties since the last time you won one. Georgia's the best program
Okay.
in the country today.
And Bama has 6 national titles in the last 15 years.
Right, but today they can't beat Florida State or make the playoffs.
And they're better today than anybody else in the SEC.
Good morning, you're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Blue? How you doing?
I'm good, buddy.
I just want to talk a little bit about the Notre Dame game. I was able to go because obviously I live in Florida. It was my first time seeing Notre Dame.
Well, it's
play.
not obvious that you live in Florida.
What do you mean?
Well, you said you went to the game because obviously I live in Florida. But it's not obvious that you live in Florida. We never would have known that if you wouldn't have told us.
Oh,
So
my
it's
bad. I
not
don't know. I
obvious.
said obvious.
Yeah, it's not obvious.
Yeah, my bad.
It's obvious now because you told us. But
yeah.
it wasn't obvious
my
at the
bad.
time.
Yeah, my bad. Mix up with words.
That's
but,
okay.
Yeah, Miami, man, I'm impressed. I know a lot of fans on Twitter, Notre Dame fans, they kind of went into this game expecting to win, but you look at last year with Cam Ward, he didn't have a defense, and you bring in Carson Beck and you get a better defense. This game wasn't no, gimme game, and I knew that going into it. But I think their offensive line, man, I mean, from what I've seen from week 1, they could very well have the best offensive line in the country.
Miami?
Yeah, Miami.
I agree, 100%. If they don't have the best offensive line, I need to see who does because that offensive line is insane.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Notre Dame's offensive line, I'm sure you noticed, in the trenches, we got dominated. Like it was hard to watch. And looking at the final score, which obviously losing by 3, there ain't no such thing as a quality loss. I don't believe in that shit. But the fact that our defense played so confused and our offensive line was terrible, I think if we continue to grow, we'll probably be fine. But I really want to just give the credit to Miami, man. They look good. Carson Beck looked good, other than that one throw that he made that was a pretty terrible decision. It worked out for him, but yeah, I'm impressed with Miami, man. I hope they can do something this year and actually win something and not go,
It's been a long time. It's been a long
yeah,
time.
I mean, if you're gonna beat us, at least go on and do something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to say I'm impressed with Miami. But I would say this too. I went to USF Alabama in 2023, and Alabama fans are far like I'm telling you, they are the worst fan base that I've ever encountered, man. Miami was very civil, believe it or not. And it warms my heart that they fucking lost to Florida State, man. That shit's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say, man. A lot of trolls out tonight, man.
Yes,
Just trying to
there-
rage bait.
there is. All right, man. Hey, thank you for the call. It's good
Yeah,
to hear
of
from
course.
you. And I mean, I thought Notre Dame played well enough to win the game. Honestly, I think they had 2 turnovers, right? Notre Dame did, and Miami had none, and they lost by 3. I mean, those are the kinds of things in a close game like that. Top 10 teams, you're on the road, you turn the ball over twice, the other team doesn't turn it over at all. You probably deserve to lose that game. The only complaint, really, or criticism that I have about Notre Dame coming out of that loss to Miami is what I mentioned earlier. I don't understand why the running game wasn't a bigger part of what Notre Dame was trying to do offensively earlier in the game. It seemed like the entire first half was Notre Dame trying to pass the ball. Not that I know you can't be one-dimensional, so I'm not saying they should have ran the ball every time, but like a lot of Miami possessions were 2 passes and 1 run, whereas I would have thought it would have been 2 runs and a pass. So like what would happen is they would throw the ball on first down, incomplete, or one of those hitch passes that only gains 2 yards. Then it's 2nd and 8. Okay, you run the ball, you gain a couple of yards. Now it's 3rd and 6. You have to throw it, and then you don't pick it up, and you're having to punt. So, and then in the third quarter, you could tell in the third quarter of that game, or 2 drives in a row in particular, that they decided, okay, we're going to feed Jeremiah Love the ball. And that was the best the Notre Dame offense had looked all game up to that point. So it was odd to me that it was the opposite of what I thought. I thought the plan would be get in there and run the ball with Jeremiah Love and the other guy too, Jadarian Price, who's also pretty good, and make Miami stop that before you look to put the game in Carr's hands, who's making his first ever start on the road against a top 10 team in a hostile environment. But it was the other way around. They came out throwing the ball, and it didn't work. And by the time they sort of corrected that in the second half and went to the running game, it was too late. Miami had built that 10-point lead, and they were able to come back and tie it up in the fourth quarter. But, too much time on the clock. Miami goes down and kicks the field goal and wins the game. The problem now for Notre Dame is that Notre Dame only has one way to get into the playoffs, whereas every other team in the country has 2 ways to get in. So if you look at a team last year like Clemson, who lost their first game of the year to Georgia, it's a non-conference loss, right? And Clemson ended up losing 2 more games. Clemson went 9-3 last year in the regular season. But they still got into the playoffs because 2 of their losses were non-conference losses. They made it to the ACC championship game, and they won. So they were able to get into the playoffs at 9-3. Notre Dame's not getting anywhere near the playoffs at 9-3. And I question whether they'll even get in at 10-2. So by losing this game, they have put themselves in a situation where they've got to win the rest of their games, or else whether or not they get into the playoffs at 11-1 is going to depend on, or 10-2 is going to depend on everyone else's record in every other conference, and you're leaving it up to the committee at that point. And people can clown on Notre Dame's schedule all they want. They've got some difficult games in the first half of the schedule. They just played one of them and lost. But they got to play Texas A&M. They got to play Arkansas. They got to play Boise State. They got to play Southern Cal. And that's all in the first half of the season. Now, their back half of their schedule is a joke. It's a bunch of service academies and fucking Boston colleges and shit like that. But they could definitely lose another game in the first half of that schedule. And if they do that, they're in trouble in terms of the playoffs, I think. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Luke.
Good morning, Uncle Luke. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. You know, I'm a big proponent of being a fan and everything, and you know, be able to critique and you know, see your team where it can improve, where it cannot improve, what their expectation is, and what you know what they can and cannot do. But the one thing I would never do and everything is go on a pedestal and everything and say that, you know, my team is Texas, that, you know, we're going to go 100-0. Arch Manning is the best thing since sliced bread and all that kind of type of stuff. And I think last week you were going back and forth with somebody in the comment section named Texas Longhorns. And he was just basically saying how the fact that, you know, we got the best roster, you know, that, you know, there's no team that's going to be able to compete with us and go undefeated. And I'm like, dude, like, you know, we're over here overturning 12 players that were starters and everything to the draft. And, you know, we have a young offensive line that's not really that quite inexperienced. And we have a quarterback that's been in the system for 3 years, which this is another thing that kind of aggravates me, is that the fact that people are acting like this is Arch Manning's freshman year and everything and stuff like that, and into the whole Sarkisian offensive system. No, it's not. He sat behind Quinn Ewers and everything for the past 2 years and learned under him. And I mean, he did get to start, you know, 2 games. And I mean, take him for what it is. It's not a Georgia, it's not Ohio State, but I mean, they are kind of meaningful reps. But let's not kid ourselves. Like, you know, what did you really expect?
Yeah, I think I almost feel bad for Arch Manning because none of this is his fault. He's not out there telling everybody how great he is. It's these media types and some Texas fans that have hyped him up to the point where there's nothing he can do to meet those expectations. Unless Texas goes 15-16-0 and he wins the Heisman, there's going to be people that go, see, I told you he wouldn't win every game and win the Heisman. You know what I mean? It's not his fault. Now, that being said, he didn't play well, but it was his first road start, and Ohio State's got a top 5 defense. I still think Arch Manning's going to be a good quarterback. I think it was ridiculous that people had him as the favorite to win the Heisman. I think that was insane.
No, absolutely. I agree 100%. And like, you know, everybody has a bad day in the office. You know, you can't expect everybody to be perfect 100%. And I also kind of feel like Sarkisian didn't really do so much of a good job of actually getting him comfortable because it wasn't until like the fourth quarter where, you know, he was starting to finally get into a groove and everything, doing a little bit more connection of the short passes. The running game finally woke up for a minute and stuff like that. And it seemed like, you know, we were able to actually control the ball a little bit better. But where was that in the beginning and stuff? And then, oh, man, don't get me started on the whole tush push, quote unquote, at the goddamn goal line and everything, at 4th and goal. You got a young offensive lineman and you want to do a tush push against Ohio State's defensive line? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, just take the points. It's just, it's invigorating. I have 4 years of data to back up and everything of some of the bogus play calling or decisions that Sarkisian makes. And I'm not saying, you know, I'm not coming for Sarkisian's head or anything, but I mean, you know, I think he has to kind of go back and, you know, reevaluate how he controls the whole red zone, because it's been far too often times where he's made, you know, some pretty questionable decisions that really has cost us a game.
Yeah.
In that time. But yeah, I don't put this all on Arch. I'm sure, you know, he's still going to be a pretty good quarterback for us and stuff like that. But I was already going into the season like with the mentality like, you know, this is there's going to be some bumps and bruises. You know, I don't expect him to win the Heisman or anything like that. Like, I don't need him being Vince Young.
Yeah, well, I
basically.
mean, we talked about it earlier with another caller, but I mean, Texas outgained Ohio State.
Yep.
You know, I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen teams that have high-level offenses struggle to score points in big games against teams that have good defenses. And a lot of times in college football, defenses are ahead of offenses early in the year anyway. So when you've got
agreed.
And this is something else I mentioned a couple of times, but so take Texas and Ohio State's defensive starters. That's a total of 22 players. Now, and then you rotate a few other players in, so 22. Let's say the top 15 defensive players on Texas and Ohio State. That's 30 players. How many of those do you think are getting drafted? 25? I mean, these are NFL defense. These are NFL defenses is the point I'm making. Texas and Ohio, I'd be willing to bet right now that Texas and Ohio State both are going to average 30, 35, 40 points a game. Like, did it look like that in week one when they were playing each other? No. But Texas and Ohio State are going to score a lot of points this year. And I think Arch Manning will be fine. I think Julian Sain will be fine. Jeremiah Smith dropped 6 passes. Is he terrible? I don't think so. I don't think so. But he wasn't very good Saturday. In fact, he wasn't very good the first time he played Texas either. So whatever it is, Texas has his number or whatever. I mean, he's but both of these teams, I think, both of these offenses, I think will be fine. Now, some of the coaching concerns that you raised about Sarkisian and his decision making and play calling, I think that's valid because if you go back and look, both losses to Georgia, last year's loss to Ohio State, and now this loss to Ohio State. He's been outcoached. He's been outcoached
not only
bad.
That, but Washington too in the semifinals.
Yeah, Kirby, as a defensive guy, has coached circles around Sarkisian twice in a row. Ohio State, with 2 different defensive coordinators, has coached circles around Steve Sarkisian. Knowles last year and Patricia this weekend outcoached him.
Do you think it would? I'm not trying to say this is a hot take, or maybe it is, but do you think maybe it's probably time for Sarkisian to probably give up the play calling and actually get an offensive coordinator?
Yes, and I think Sarkisian is one of the best offensive minds and best play callers in the country, but he's a head coach. Not like if he wants to be an offensive coordinator, step down and let the university hire a head coach and you can run the offense. There's too much going on. I don't want Kirby calling Kirby's not his own defensive coordinator, and it's pretty widely accepted that Kirby's the best defensive mind in football. He's not his own defensive coordinator. He never has been. He's had a defensive coordinator from day one.
He just only kind of like oversees it, right? And like kind of gives.
Well, yeah, he's got his hands in the defense. Right? He's a head coach. He's got his hands in everything. He's got his hands in the offense too. And Sarkisian can still have a lot of input into the offense and can even, be on the headset when the plays are being called in or whatever he wants to do. But I don't think any head coach should be their own coordinator ever. I just think there's too many other responsibilities. There's too much going on. This is just a basic way to look at it. But so when Ohio State has the ball, what should your offensive coordinator be doing? It should be planning the next series.
Yep.
Right? Well, Sarkisian can't do that. Because he's the head coach. He's watching the defense. It's just I just think it's a bad idea. I just think there's too much going on, and I just think it's a bad idea. Billy Napier, this is a lesson he refuses to learn. Sarkisian yet to learn it. Ryan Day just learned it within the last few years. And then they won a natty. What a giant fucking surprise that was. Ryan Day gives up play calling, and immediately what happens? They win a natty. Unbelievable. Amazing how that happens.
And I think that with that in mind, I don't think we're ever going to sniff the playing for the national championship until Sarkisian actually gives that up. Because like you said, it's just, there's a lot there's so many variables that are happening in the game itself and stuff. But not only that, like, let's talk about outside the game. He's still having to deal with NIL. He's trying to make sure that his players are happy. He's still dealing with recruiting. Like, they're on and on and on. And then on top of that, you're trying to game plan for a team.
Yeah,
and again, stuff. And then, I mean, maybe I might be wrong. Who knows? We still have a lot of football to play and stuff like that. But to me, in my head, and how I'm, in my opinion, I don't. We might get to the national championship at some point in time, but I don't think we're gonna fully get over that hump unless Sarkisian is willing to give up the whole play calling and give it to somebody else and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just I think there was a lot of unrealistic expectations going into the Ohio State game. For one, myself, I knew this was going to be a very defensive game. I mean, you're talking about two teams and everything that are coming in with not that much experience, quite young, lost a lot of people in the draft. So I was expecting it to be a low-scoring game. But, the criticism, the hate, and everybody jumping off the Arch Manning, bandwagon and stuff like that, I just think it's gone a little too far ahead. But also, I have to even blame our own fan base for that too, because, we, not only the media, but we allowed that to happen. And not only that, we echo that obnoxiously over social media and everything. So, I completely understand why people would want to, get any opportunity to take a jab at us, because we deserve it in that sense. But Arch Manning doesn't deserve it, because he's not the one coming out here and saying like, oh, look at me type person. And I like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, good luck the rest of the way. We'll see how it goes. Great game. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hi, Uncle Lou. How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
On top of the world as an LSU fan.
I hear you.
Oh, my God, finally.
Yeah, that was a great game. Yeah, finally won a week one game, right?
Yeah, because if you remember before the season, I promise you I would record myself jumping out a window if we frigging lost again. So that video never has to be made.
Yeah, good. You're safe and sound then.
It was great. I was wearing my game-worn jersey the whole night. Like, I was just doing everything I could to be sure we won that game.
Yeah.
Like,
well, whatever you did.
But I got to say, North Carolina, what the fuck was that? Oh, my God. Like, they couldn't run. They couldn't throw. They couldn't tackle. Like, they couldn't do anything. They looked completely unprepared.
Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad.
It was. And look, I feel bad for Lopez. I think that's his name. The injury looked pretty bad, and from the reports I heard on him, so I hope he's okay. But as you know, Max Johnson last year, when he went down week one, broke his leg really bad. I'm wondering if Belichick started Lopez over him out of concerns for injury. And if that's the case, then you've already failed as a head coach, because what happened a year ago isn't this year. Chapel Hill is burning down, man.
I don't like anybody to get hurt ever for any reason. But Gio Lopez is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. The guy can't throw a 10-yard out route. He's
a transfer from South Alabama. Like, what did they expect to happen?
His arm is terrible. He's got no business being a quarterback on a Power 4 team at all. I'm serious. He can't throw a 10-yard out. His arm is horrible. He's bad.
It's really bad. Like, he has no power in his arm.
None.
Every throw was a lollipop into the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And then we see Max Johnson on those last few drives for North Carolina. He's beaming it across the field, and all of a sudden, North Carolina's moving the ball.
Well, that is true, but we have to be careful, because you know what happens at the end of these lopsided games.
True. Prevent defenses and garbage
defense, backup players. TCU at that point is known for an hour and a half they're winning the game, so they're not playing at anywhere near the same intensity they're playing in the first half. Now, I'm not saying that means North Carolina's quarterback's no good to Max Johnson or whatever. It might be good, but getting some yards sort of in garbage time in the fourth quarter, I don't think is necessarily proof of that.
Right. I'm not going to try to take up too much of your time. I'm going to hit two quick points, and then I'm going to head out. I got to say, dude, well, first off, we got Tank Conference fans arguing in the comment section right now between Florida State and Miami, so I'm really enjoying watching that. But the ACC, Jesus Christ, y'all are down bad outside of Florida State. Because right now, Bama, man, is currently in their bomb shelters with NASCAR on demand. That's where they are. But, dude, Clemson, that offensive line and Kate Klubnik, that was a joke. Like, I know our defense is better than it was last year. There's no doubt in my mind. But at some point, you have got to alleviate some pressure from your quarterback.
Yeah, that was bad. That was real. The Clemson's offensive line has got some serious, and I know LSU's got a good front seven, but that offensive line is really, really bad at Clemson.
They were on roller skates that whole game. It never once looked like they were prepared for the rush. It was bad.
Yeah.
And the same thing can be said watching North Carolina, like 0 from the offensive line and trying to run the ball. North Carolina and Clemson, they were trying to run it so bad. They couldn't do it. It was painful to watch both of these two. And do I think Cade Klubnik is a bad quarterback? Absolutely not. I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't see the Heisman contender everyone was talking about when I watch him. I think he's really good, but I don't see him as just what typical we've been hearing about Clemson.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I have a serious question, though, for North Carolina. If y'all want him, hey, Thus Miles is still on the table if Belichick don't work out. All right. Good night, Lou. Go Tigers.
All right, buddy. Yeah, congratulations on the big win. Man, it's trolling at the end there with the Les Miles. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Well, first of all, holy Florida man, where do you find these people?
Yeah, well, they find me, but I'm just lucky that way.
But to get to the point, Sunday you couldn't slap a smile off my face.
I bet. Now I know there was about a 10-minute period in that fourth quarter, where you were gritting your teeth, because when Notre Dame scored 10 straight points in the fourth quarter to tie it up, I was sitting here going, there is no way that Miami is about to do the same thing they did in every game last year and let somebody come back in the second half. I was like, there's no way, but they didn't. They ended up getting the win. But, man, if I was a Miami fan, I would have been nervous as shit in the fourth quarter of that game when Notre Dame scored those 10 points.
Yeah, I was, but then you actually go back and look at the plays. Okay, you had a busted coverage at a bad time. Happens. I'll even give it a little grace considering it's week 1. But, overall, to hold that pair of running backs to under 100 yards, I've got to take that as a W. Even if they didn't run as much as, and I agree that they should have. I don't know why that wasn't their game plan. I think Clemson made the same mistake. I don't know why you're trying to put the game on Cartwright's shoulders, it being his first start in a hostile environment and a top 10 matchup.
Did you say Cartwright? CJ Cartwright.
I can't take credit for that. I stole it from Pete.
CJ Cartwright. Oh boy. Okay.
But no, overall, I have to look at the defense as definitely being better than it was last year. I can't argue that, and I think it's hard to.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I was worried about Carson coming into the game because he didn't participate in spring. And, you never know how much time these guys are putting in on their own in the off season, but clearly he was. And, you made mention about why didn't Bama go get some receivers in the portal? CJ Daniels was in the portal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it probably could have helped your cause.
I said this in the offseason, and now after watching one Miami game, I'm 100% sure it is. Behind that offensive line, Carson Beck might throw for 4,500 yards.
He might.
Because he can sit back there all day and he can make a sandwich and whatever he wants to do back there. That offensive line is ridiculous, and Carson Beck will sit back there. And the best defense you play all year, you just beat. I think.
Probably, yeah. I agree. And that's why I think he's probably at least compared to what he had to work with, I think he's got a better run game at Miami. To your point, yes, it was the best defense we'll probably play all year. And we still averaged almost 4 yards a carry between the two backs.
Yeah.
Actually 3. So I'll take rushing for, 120, 130 some odd yards on Notre Dame's defense. But something I don't think is getting enough credit is Miami's D-line too. Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor on those edges are a nuisance. Justin Scott is a monster.
I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about Alabama's defense and the clips that are floating around Twitter of their players jogging around and loafing and not chasing ball carriers and shit like that, right? We've all seen them, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Ruben Bain interception. That doesn't happen on Alabama.
No, it doesn't.
Ruben Bain is a defensive end / outside linebacker, whatever he is. He intercepted a pass on a hitch pass to the sideline.
He did.
That is 100% hustle, effort, and energy. That's all that is. That's 100% hustle and effort. The ball got bobbled around and stuff, and that gave him time to get out there. But he only got out there because he was running out there. Full speed. As soon as the ball was thrown. The chances of him having an impact on that play are about 2%. Because most likely that guy is going to catch the ball and take off running up the sideline, or he's going to catch the ball and get tackled by the DB. Those are the two most likely things to happen. The chances that that ball gets bobbled around long enough for Ruben Bain to run out there and intercept it is almost none. But that didn't matter to Ruben Bain. He ran out there anyway because that's what you're supposed to do.
And then returned it for another 20 yards, and it was the quarterback that pushed him out of bounds.
Right. And had he not had the hustle, the effort, and the energy to run out there, that's just an incomplete pass, and no one's talking about that play. But he ran all the way from his defensive end position out there and made an interception on it. And that is what Alabama doesn't have. They've got 10 Ruben Bains on their team. They don't have one Ruben Bains that's willing to put in that much effort, though.
No, and to me, that's a hallmark of some very good defenses, and you've seen it out of Miami in the past. I think you've seen it out of Georgia since Kirby Smart's been there, is the ability of the defense to get east and west on the field, not just north and south.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what makes a defense hard to beat, is when you can get a guy like that. Now, and granted, it was on his side of the field, so he was a little closer. But still, to your point, that's a big guy to get over there that quick. When you can't run east-west on offense or defensive linemen, you're going to have some problems with that defense.
Yeah, Miami was impressive. They looked good. I'm not going to lie. They looked good. The questions about Miami, wide receivers, because they just lost them all. So you're like, okay, don't really know what's going to happen. That number 10 is amazing, true freshman. He's already probably my favorite player to watch this year in college football. The guy's unbelievable. Tyreek.
Can you ask for anybody better to replace Restrepo?
Right.
At least for a game.
Perfect replacement. Yeah, yeah. The defense was great against a pretty good team in Notre Dame. Carson Beck looked good coming off the elbow surgery. The offensive line is the best in football. They look really good. It's hard to find. It's hard to go, well, they need to get better here. They need to, what I know, like coaches say, oh, yeah, always got to get better. I get that. But, they look like a complete team.
Well, and I think our next, we'll see how it goes this week, but I think our next true test will probably be Florida. And something I don't think is being talked about, DJ Lagway played a half of football and only threw for 120 yards against something called Staten Island or Rhode Island or Epstein Island, whatever it was.
Yeah. Now, will Miami fans buy up the tickets to the Florida game because it's in Miami?
More than likely.
And the reason I ask is because I know this game sold out, but this game didn't sell out until 7 days before the game. If that happens this time, then Florida fans are going to buy up all the tickets.
I would tend to agree with that, but And I've said it myself. The biggest problem, it's a fair weather fan base.
Yeah, well, that's right. But now that they beat Notre Dame, maybe everybody will come on board now.
Yeah. And usually it's the big games like the Floridas, like the Notre Dames, when Ohio State came to Miami, when Oklahoma came to Miami. Never much had a problem selling those games out.
Yeah.
So I would assume not, but who knows? It's Miami.
That game's week 3?
Week 4.
Week 4, okay.
Yeah. We've got, some can of corn this week. South Florida, who Florida plays this week. And then Florida comes to town.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks later, after a bye week, North Florida man is coming to town.
Yeah.
Or no, we go up there. Excuse me. Yeah, we go to Doak Campbell Trailer Park.
Oh, yeah. That's a primetime game, I think.
I don't know. I haven't looked that far ahead in the schedule. If Florida State remains undefeated, they will be. Which, by the way, I've seen it all over Twitter, and I've seen it in your comment section, and I've seen it in others on YouTube. I think it's pretty delusional now to say you're going to go from 2-10 to, I hear them hollering 10-2 at the worst.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. They're gonna lose some games.
Yeah. And for the record, before I go, I completely agree with you. There isn't a blue blood program in the state of Florida. Not Florida State, not mine. Just because we beat Notre Dame, we're not all of a sudden a blue blood.
And that shouldn't be an insult to people. Like, what matters is if you're good now. And Miami looks pretty good now. Florida State looks pretty good now. Even Florida looks a little better than they have been lately now. Like that. Like, Georgia's not a blue blood. They're pretty good right now. Like, it's fine with me. It's just weird how upset people get about the blue blood thing. Like, I don't know. Anyway, thanks for the call, Slim. Good to hear from you. All right, we're going to have to start going through these calls pretty quick because I got to get out of here around 11. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hello, Uncle Lou.
Hey, buddy.
I was not impressed with Georgia this past Saturday. Not at all. Because with not Carson Beck, but Gunnar Stockton, they're using him as a running back. And if he keeps on, they're going to get him hurt because of the way they use him. I like they're using him as a running quarterback, but they constantly use him. He'll get hurt like what happened in the Texas game. Remember when he got he got his lights knocked out?
Yeah.
Something like that's going to happen, and he's going to be knocked out, and then we're going to have to rely on Puglisi, and then he's going to have to start, and that's what's going to happen.
All right. Thank you for the call. Running quarterbacks run the ball. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. I got to mute that. I was going to get copyrighted. Let me know when you're done with it.
How about them Noles?
They look good.
They look good, all right, don't they? Mike Norvell walked in with the all-black Air Forces on with the suit and came in there for business, huh? I'm guessing Saban can't save him?
Yeah, he's not their coach, so I would imagine not.
Yeah, he wasn't walking through them doors to save him. Now, tell me one thing. How come everybody acts like the ACC so weak, Florida State don't play nobody, and we play the poster team for the SEC, and now they're just all of a sudden bad?
Alabama didn't win the SEC last year. They didn't even make the SEC championship game or the playoffs.
That's the poster team, right?
No,
that's the
Georgia. Georgia is the
SEC.
poster. Georgia is the poster team for the SEC, and they beat you 63-3.
So how come y'all can never beat them?
Georgia's goal isn't to win a regular season game. That's your goal.
Okay. So before this game, we heard about that top O-line they had and all about them. They had a bunch of 3-star freshmen on the DN run right through.
What do you? What is it that y'all want? Everybody on the planet has been doing nothing but congratulating Florida State fans for the last 2 days. What do you?
No, they've been backpedaling.
No one's been backpedaling. How?
They had the best wide receiver in the nation besides JJ at Ohio State. But guess what happened? He was painting his nails, walking in with a teddy bear, and now he's gone on a milk carton, missing. We don't know where he went in the fourth quarter. He ran out the stadium.
He got a concussion.
Oh,
That's where he went.
Late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, you asked where he went. That's where he went. He
defense-
got a concussion. Y'all
Bama
gave him a
defense
concussion.
when Tommy Football came in there and said that Bama's defense couldn't stop him. Bama's defense said the disrespect will be addressed.
Yes.
I don't think anything was addressed.
No, Alabama embarrassed themselves. They lost to Florida State. That's humiliating.
We had a transfer tied in from Colorado.
Well, every player you have is a transfer.
Hey, well, he was from Colorado. We all said Colorado was soft last year, right? All their defense and all that. That tight end put one of Alabama's number one linebackers right on his ass, and he thought about playing football, man.
Let me
He
ask
didn't
you
know-
something. Do you think
All right, go
Alabama's
ahead.
Do you think Alabama's good?
Do I think Alabama's good? I
Yeah.
mean, you did before that game, didn't
I'm not
you?
asking you what I thought
I think
before
this
the
is
game.
one
I'm asking you if you think
Okay.
Alabama's good.
Well, just how everybody's saying this is just one game, Florida State. This is just one game. Well, it's just
Are you going to
one game
answer the
for Bama.
question? Do you think Alabama? It's a yes or no question. Do you think Alabama is good?
I don't think they're as good as they usually are. I think they're still a good ball team, and this is only one game. You
Right.
can't define a team off one game.
I agree because
At
last
all.
year Florida State was ranked in the top 10 in the preseason and lost their first game to Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech was so good they went on to be 7-6.
Hey, preseason rankings don't mean shit. You still got to
Right.
play the rest of the season.
Exactly.
Hey, it's
Exactly.
game by game. It's game
That's
by
right.
game.
That's right. They don't mean anything. So Alabama's not a
another
top 10
thing,
team.
Bama fans said they didn't want nothing to do with Mike Norvell. They didn't try to hire him. They always wanted Kalen DeBum. So now I hope they don't backpedal from that, because that's the two Bama had in there, and then Mike Norvell took another contract from Florida State.
Hey, can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
How many times did you call into this show last season?
I'm pretty sure two.
Okay.
I mean, I was in the chat when we was losing.
Okay.
What is that? I called in 23 too when you said we weren't going to beat LSU, and then we beat them by 21.
Did you call
I'm
in
calling
after you
in
played
today
Georgia?
too after you said Alabama wasn't going to win.
Did you call in after you played Georgia in 2023?
Oh, you mean our fourth string played them? Hey, you're talking about us bragging about being a bad Alabama.
Is that a no?
You beat four strings
So you
and you're
didn't call
bragging
in?
about it.
So you didn't call in?
So did you
after,
cover the spread this weekend?
Did Georgia cover
by
the
the way,
spread?
that guy was talking about that freshman running back. You act like you didn't know who he was. You know who he was. He
I have
came
no
right from
idea
Georgia's
who.
backyard.
I have no
He
idea
came
who
right
Florida
from
State's
Georgia's
running back is,
backyard.
but I've got no clue. I can't name one running back on Florida State's team. Not one.
I mean, I can't name a running back that came from Georgia in the last couple of years because y'all can't recruit him no more.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we took him from you. Bama found out who he was. That's for damn sure. And you sleeping on TC, man? Give that man his respect.
Who?
You did apologize to him. I heard you.
Who is PT?
But you still said he's not a good quarterback.
Who is PT?
I said TC.
Oh,
Tommy
TC.
Football.
Tommy Football?
Tommy Football. Yep, that's what the FSU fans was chanting Saturday.
Yeah,
after
I don't
he
think he's.
upset
I don't
Bama,
think he's
just
very
like
good.
Johnny Football.
Yeah, I don't think he's very good.
Hey, people didn't think Jordan Travis was a good passer. I mean, that's not his role. It's just like you can't tell a pocket passer to be a scrambler. That's not his role.
Is
Lou.
Tommy Football going to win the same thing that
I'll
Jordan
tell you
Travis
what Tommy
won, which
Football's
is
gonna
nothing?
do. He's gonna go. I'm pretty sure it's October 4th. When your boyfriend ET comes to town, that used to play for Georgia. When he comes to town, he's gonna show him how to play football, and we're gonna beat Miami. We're gonna put belt to ass to Miami.
Y'all going 15-0 and winning the Natty?
Nah, I never said that. I thought we were a 3 or 4 loss team before this game. Now I think we are a 2 or 3 loss team.
So
I think
10-2 or 9-3?
Yeah. I think our floor is 8-4. That's our floor.
Yeah.
But you can't say this team didn't look talented, Lou. We came to play.
They look good. That's
Hey,
all I've said for 2 days. I don't know why you're
we
calling
back
up
the
and yelling
talk
at
up.
me. I'm not an Alabama fan.
No, it's
I think it's
everybody
hilarious
that's
that
listening
Alabama
to the
lost.
show.
Huh?
Oh, before I forget, the guy Dynasty, the Bama fan Dynasty, we made a bet and he gave me a 14-point spread. I had to call in and sing Sweet Home Alabama if they won. If I won, he had to call in and do the war chant. So if he's ever in chat, we got to hold that to him. Octavian, you owe me $50. The Gators ain't shit. DJ's gonna be hurt by the time y'all get there. Go Noles, roll Tribe.
Good morning, y'all. What up?
God bless. I mean, we're all for Bama losing. I think it's the funniest thing we've all seen. But now we got to put up with insufferable FSU fans. I don't know what's worse. I don't know. Anyway, brother, I'll keep it short and sweet and to the point. Oregon played a can of corn this weekend, but we did our thing. We're deep as all get out. The physicality on this team looked great now. I'm excited to play Oklahoma State. I'll give Oklahoma State fans this. Their Twitter has been popping off with some Oklahoma State fans, and that they're making it a fun little hate week. I'll give them that, but it's going to be belt to ass disrespectfully. I would hammer the over on that Oregon-Oklahoma State game. It's last I checked, 58.5. Go ahead and hammer that over. Oregon might score that by themselves. Oklahoma State's got their backup quarterback coming into Autzen Stadium, and that's just not going to spell success. That's not how you win games in the house of pain that is Autzen Stadium. Anyway, brother, you have a good rest of your day, and I'll talk to you Thursday.
All right, buddy. Good luck against Oregon State. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. I mean, Oklahoma.
Hey, bro. Good evening, brother. How you doing?
Doing good.
Hey, I said like a couple of days ago, or when you were doing the show, I thought Baylor was going to beat Auburn, but I was wrong. But I thought we had some gains. Like, I thought we did offense mostly good. We still need to rush better.
Baylor, you're talking about?
Yes.
Well, yeah, they had
Baylor.
almost 600 yards offense.
But Sawyer is a beast. So is Michael Trigg, and all the couple of the other wide receivers and stuff like that. I was wondering, what do you think about the SMU match?
I think it's going to be a good game. I haven't made a pick on that game yet, but I think it's going to be close.
I agree with you. I think it used to be a Southwestern Conference game.
Yeah, I don't know or care anything about that, but that SMU quarterback can do the same things Jackson Arnold did, so you better figure something out with that.
Yeah.
So, hey, thank you for the call. It's good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou. How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah. I went through a whole crash out on the media yesterday. I'm not gonna basically relive that, but
thank you.
I'm just again. The guy had 2 starts.
First of all, I'm sorry. First of all, I like you, so let's just start there. But when you're a 2-teamer and both your teams lose, you have to hear about it. So you're the worst. You're down worse than anyone I've ever known right now.
Yeah.
Because you root for 2 top 5 teams, which is dumb anyway. And they both lost. So that just needs to be pointed out, that you're a Texas fan and a Notre Dame fan. And so far combined this season, both of your teams are winless. So I can't even imagine the amount of misery that you're rolling around in right now.
I thought that Miami might win because they have Carson Beck, who knows how to win. He comes from a winning tradition, at Georgia, but I thought they were both 50-50 games realistically. But again, I just, with the whole Texas thing, I've seen everything I need to see of Sarkisian as a play caller. Oh, no. He has got to let go of that play sheet. I agree. It's like he had a honeymoon phase with me. Every coach that continues improving the team gets a 3-4 year honeymoon phase. I'm kind of glad that honeymoon phase was just completely busted this past weekend, because now we can actually focus on starting to hold this guy accountable for when he screws up. And the thing is he got fired at Atlanta, the Falcons, for poor red zone play calling. And the last 3 seasons now, we have been god awful in the red zone. Multiple quarterbacks, multiple offensive line groups, different wide receivers. It doesn't matter. This guy cannot call plays on the goal line to save his life, and he needs to hire an offensive coordinator. I'm
Agreed.
sick and tired of this guy, thinking he can do 2 jobs. So, the administration needs to get in his ear and say, "Listen, we're cutting your pay unless you let go of the play sheet."
He either needs to hire an offensive coordinator, or he needs to hire a head coach. In other words, he needs to decide which one of those 2 jobs he wants, and then let the university fill the other position. Hey, thank you for the call. I got to move through these calls here. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good to see you, Uncle Lou. I'm a new subscriber and everything, but I'm not gonna take too long here. I know you probably want to go to bed and stuff, but the UNC TCU beatdown. Dear Lord, as a UNC fan, that was the most embarrassing thing I've seen since JMU.
Oh, you're a UNC fan. Yeah, that was hard to watch. So what were North Carolina fans' expectations really? Like
What are your expectations this season or this game?
Both.
So, this season, my prediction was 8-4 to 10-2. The ACC, I think, is a cakewalk. If you can't win more than 6 games in the ACC, I don't think you're a really good head coach. That's just me being honest. This game, it was mixed between UNC fans. We thought TCU could win. We thought UNC could win. But one thing that looked good this game, not Gio Lopez. Gio Lopez is a walking trash can. I think Max Johnson might be a very, exciting QB. He won that big game at Florida, LSU, that big game with the shoe toss, iconic shoe toss.
Yeah.
And, I think he's going to be a very good QB. I think he might carry the team. I don't think Bill's that good of a head coach, but I think Max Johnson will carry the team. He's an experienced veteran QB. He might get us 10 wins. Doubt it.
But, come on.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Even I can admit that's kind of cope.
Yeah, you need to be trying to make a bowl game. That would be.
But hey, for first game coaching college football, I'm not gonna clown Bill that much.
I am. Yeah. Thank you for the call though. Yeah, that was pitiful performance. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey Lou, how's it going?
Good, buddy.
Yeah, real quick. Florida, they beat Long Island, but I will say that offensive line did not look good. Lagway got sacked 3 or 4 times.
What?
He was being chased all the rest of the time.
Wait a minute.
The defense looks like it could be.
Lagway got sacked 4 times and didn't get hurt? That's pretty good.
At least, that's what I said every time I went. Yeah, it was, but that offensive line's not very good. And that defense looks decent, but
yeah, that's impressive though. If you're telling me he got sacked 4 times and didn't get hurt, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's the highlight of that game. But I don't take much out of that game. It's Long Island, so
yeah.
You have a good night. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Thanks for calling in. Good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
So I was gonna ask you, how do you think the rest of Alabama's season goes?
The reality is they're still one of the most 2 or 3 talented teams in the country on paper, roster wise. So if for some reason they're able to figure it out and get it together, they'll win way more games than they lose. Obviously, if they play like they played against Florida State, they're going to struggle to make a bowl game though. If that's how they're going to play, because you look at the schedule: Oklahoma, at Georgia, at South Carolina, at Missouri, Auburn, LSU. Those are all games they will lose if they play 100%. Like they played against Florida State. Now, I don't think they will. Teams, they never play at their worst constantly, and they never play at their best constantly. So we're likely to see about what we saw last year from Alabama, which is an up or down team that looks unbeatable in the first half against Georgia, like they did last year or whatever, but then can't get a first 100%. Down against Vanderbilt or something. But I wouldn't bet $1 on Alabama making the playoffs. There's just,
I don't think this team makes the playoffs. No. I'm thinking, they could beat Georgia, but I just with the Vandy, Oklahoma again, Tennessee, Auburn on the road, especially Jackson Arnold. I mean, say what you will about him, but I mean, I think he's going to run all over us and right. Jordan-Hare.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for the call. I gotta shut the show down in about 5 minutes. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey Lou, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, well, so look, I'm a Gator fan. Watching Napier coach, and it's the same thing. Everybody's been talking about. He's a know-nothing coach. terrible play call, or we're going to go into LSU and get our asses run through. And hopefully, maybe we'll get USF's coach. Because I'll take him over
It's
Billy
Golish.
Neighbors.
Who is it? Golish?
Golish, yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he was at Tennessee for a while, I think, offensive coordinator or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. I've heard, I hear his name, not necessarily for Florida, but I'm starting to hear his name mentioned. Whenever you hear people talking about coaches that might be getting a job somewhere, he's starting to be in that mix of names that people are throwing out there. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. Thank you for the call. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hi, Uncle Lou. How you doing?
Good.
Just a few quick points. For one, Knowles fans, please stop acting like you won a natty in week 1. It's pathetic and laughable. Congrats on the win. That's all you did. You won. Move on. Bama, I'm not surprised. I mean, Kalen DeVore's Pac-12 guy. You don't really see much toughness out of the Pac-12. I mean, they're finally seeing they don't have a Nick Saban 2.0. I thought it would happen last year, but it didn't. And then 3, Georgia versus Alabama. They don't have a Nick Saban homecoming this time. So I like our chances. That's it.
I hope you're right. It's hard for me to have a whole lot of confidence in Georgia beating Alabama, no matter how bad they are, no matter how good Georgia is. It seems like they always find a way to win. But we'll find out in a few weeks. Georgia has Tennessee before that on the road in Knoxville. Then they get a bye week, and then they host Alabama. But that's going to do it for the show today. I appreciate everybody that took the time to call in. Sorry to rush through those last calls. But I've told you all this before, but on Tuesdays, I like to try to get out of here at a decent time. Thursdays, I'll go almost as long as you want. Thursdays, I've stayed on as late as 1:30 in the morning on Thursdays, but I can't do that on Tuesdays. I have to shut the show down at a somewhat reasonable time on Tuesday. So I apologize to those of you that I kind of rushed through there at the end. If you want to call back on Thursday, I promise to give you as much time as you want, because I know in a lot of cases y'all end up having to wait on hold for quite some time to come on. And it's frustrating then when I don't give you a whole lot of time to talk, but I do have to get out of here. So that's the reason for that. But I do appreciate everybody that took the time to call in. Run through these super chats real quick, and then I got to get out of here. Jolie says, if KSU beat Indiana this week, it would be so effing funny. USF, Florida, low-key the biggest game this week, in my opinion. I think it'll be a good game, an interesting game. I expect Florida to win the game by a couple of scores, though. I think they're favored by 17. I don't know if I'll bet the game or whatever, but I would expect Florida to beat them by a couple of scores. We'll see, though. Paxton says all across the board the quarterback play was terrible. Yeah, well, you can find some good quarterback play, but when you look at the marquee matchups, it was hard to find. Texas, Ohio State, Clemson, LSU. I like Carson Beck played good. Carson Beck was the best quarterback of those 3 marquee games, at least this week. I'm not saying he'll end up being better than Nussmeier or Klubnik or Julian Sayin or Arch, but if you look at the 3 marquee games, which is what I think you're talking about, Carson Beck had the best game of the 6 quarterbacks in those 3 games. Nicholas Taperno says Ohio State and Georgia are the 2 best programs, and it's not a debate. I would agree with that. I think those are the 2 best programs in football right now. If you want to expand it to, what are the best 5 or 6 programs in football, I think you throw Oregon in there. I think you throw Texas in there. It starts to get a little bit more difficult after that. So, Penn State, people are going to have mixed opinions on that. Clemson, people will have mixed opinions on that. But I think Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, I think a pretty clear top 4. Again, not talking about teams in a given year, but programs and everything that entails. I don't even know what this name is pretending to be, but it says Texas is also a BB to Lou. I don't know what that means. Paxton says, if Texas goes 9-3, how will the judges judge the Ohio State game? Well, they'll judge it as a loss because you lost. Cyrus Seller says, I know I thought Baylor would beat Auburn, but I was wrong. I hope this week will be a turnaround against SMU. I think Sawyer gets 400-yard game again. He's good. He had a good weekend. That's what I mean. We had quarterbacks in some other games that had great games. Jackson Arnold played okay. Sawyer Robertson for Baylor. Jalen Daniels is a machine right now for Kansas. Now, step up in competition for them this week. They play Missouri, finally a Power 4 opponent, but Jalen Daniels has looked like a video game character the first 2 games of the year for Kansas. He's been the most impressive player in college football this season to me. Again, it's early in the year, and a lot of teams have played nobodies or whatever, but yeah. Norwegian Method says, my Tide 9-6 after 3 hypothetical postseason wins. I like the Alabama fans who are willing to who are willing to laugh at themselves a little bit right now. They've enjoyed a lot of success for a long time. You have to be willing to sort of take the punches now, and laughing at yourself is a good quality, I think. Does everyone have their anxiety bear? Yeah, I don't have an anxiety bear. Maybe I need one. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I need an anxiety bear. Let's hit the like button. Yeah, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Walking into a game wearing a press suit with no tie, with a backpack on and headphones and designer sunglasses on, your friend clutches a teddy bear. Yeah, you're talking about Ty Simpson and Ryan Williams walking into the floor. It's not a good look, especially, I mean, now we see the game. They got humiliated, so you go back to what are you doing? But it's not a good look. It's not Kalen DeBoer anymore. It's Mike DeBoer. It's sure, maybe it's Mike Shula or Mike DeBose. My contribution to the show. Thanks. So, hey, thank you, Blake. I appreciate that, buddy. I appreciate that. All right, I do have to get out of here. It's late. Great show tonight. We'll be back Thursday. We'll do it again and again. I promise to. We'll do the show longer on Thursday, but Tuesdays I have to cut it. At some point on Tuesdays, but Thursdays will go a lot longer. And again, for those of you that I had to cut off a little short tonight towards the end of the show, if you want to call back in on H-Post, if you want to call back in on Thursday, buddy, I know you were. I hate rushing y'all off because I know y'all wait on hold, and I do like hearing what y'all have to say, but I got to get out of here. So Thursday night we'll go a little longer if we need to. No live shows tomorrow. We'll have a couple of videos uploaded for you, but no live shows tomorrow, and I'll be back Thursday night at 9 p.m. to do a call-in show all over again. Till then, though, have a good morning.